I'll commence this by saying that yes, I understand that in 2006, everything that happened with Mel Gibson, yes, that is truly deplorable. The whole arrest and saying that, he was the anti-Semitism, and even his death, I'm sorry, even his likeness was parodied in A Thousand Ways to Die in a humorous way. Alright? Are we clear that I don't respect him as a person, but I like him as a filmmaker? Okay, I don't want to hear any crap. Apocalypto from 2006. From Mel Gibson, director of The Passion of the Christ and the Academy Award winning Braveheart. Best Director, Best Picture, 1995. Comes with a thrilling, historical epic, Apocalypto. This intense, non-stop action-adventure transports you to an ancient central civilization for an experience unlike anything you have ever known. In the twilight of the mysterious Mayan culture, young Jaguar Paw is captured and taken to a Mayan city, where he faces a harrowing end. Driven by the power of his love for his wife and son, he makes an adrenaline-soaked, heart-racing escape to rescue them and ultimately save his way of life. Filled with unrelenting action and stunning cinematography, Apocalypto is an enthralling and unforgettable film experience. It's pure adrenaline, says Peter Travers of the pretentious magazine Rolling Stone. Totally mesmerizing adventure. It is unlike any film to come out this year. It's a total triumph, says Paul Fisher of Dark Horizons. 138 minutes. It is definitely, truly unlike in 2006, when you have a whole bunch of movies that were coming out, and then one that gets released that is just spoken in a different language, that it takes something that some Americans knew about but were unfamiliar with, but no big stars outside of having Gibson direct it. So it was very interesting for me. I've heard about this, and I'm like, okay, watched it. Truly incredible as an artistic piece of show, don't tell. Yes, there is some dialogue. Obviously, you're going to need it, and you're going to need the subtitles underneath just to get the point, just to explain what's going on. But hey, instead of saying, oh, we're going to sacrifice, just like, hey, they told us stories of like the blood is soaked with earth. And then we get to see a gargantuan pyramid where sacrifices will be made. And we get to see some art of people covered in blue that will be sacrificed. I'm like, yes, film is meant to be a visual medium. And that's exactly what it is. It portrays it by saying, hey, there is like, it's like we are going to be sacrificed, but at the same time, it's all it's performative because it's like, hey, we're reenacting what happened over 2,000 years ago, or whatever, So ultimately, it's about one man's quest to be able to escape everything, and return to his pregnant wife and daughters. Like in the beginning, they kind of have the camaraderie going on. It's like saying, hey, have this whatever it was called. It's like, that's how I had my 10 children. The elder tells a story of the prophecy and the talking about Jaguar and stuff like that. And of course, their village gets ambushed by the Mayans, and they get taken up to try and please their gods and stuff like that. And it's not a pretty movie. It's like you just get to see I guess the market would be the best word, and it's just like, jeez, it's a heavy area, and it's like, you have all the they have all the tattoos, the hair colorings, the hairstyles, the loincloths, and it's just, yeah, this was definitely pretty dang accurate as to what was going on. But obviously, the second half it's more of the escape, because it's like saying, hey, you get a chance to escape, but you have to kind of avoid arrows and spears and rocks and stuff like that. And what's pretty much happening is just all throughout is just a lot of running and a lot of evasion running, but it's done in such a masculine way. Just this is just this is just primal. It's in the sense that you're just one man versus like 10 different people. It's so freaking fantastic. Yes, but it's not just boring. It's like let's have an actual jaguar going on that manages to pretty much just eliminate one person quite viciously, I may add. And let's also let's have the rest of the groups have to maul as jaguar because it's just so oof. Yeah, you really can't train a jaguar. It'll make sense in a minute, but yeah, it's very much about just him trying to return to his wife and child. They're stuck inside a massive pit, and it's running all throughout, and it's just so great. But of course, definitely one of the highlights is Rudy Youngblood, who somehow managed to perform a 175 jump with a bungee cord attached to him, of course. And it took like 10 tries to get it, 10 freaking tries to capture the required footage, and he did it. And it's just like you just look at it. The rapids are intense; they're intimidating, but somehow he manages to go down like just like that. So dang incredible. Just the amount of adrenaline going on in here. It's just, holy smokes. Just that drop alone. It's just amazing. So it's like, wow. And you just, of course, when he's running through the jungle and everything. And finally, just when it, like, there's the last two people there. But then they look and it's like, what is going on? It does a beautiful, just a beautiful sweep just like this. And we get to see some immigrants come in of just the explorers. I'm not people just coming in. Like what is that? Like missionaries, maybe. I'm trying to remember. Ultimately, having learned from his lesson before, Jaguar Paw says, "No, we're not going to stay here. We're going to go in the forest." And you could pretty much infer what happens to those two people who are chasing him. So, yeah. For some people, they may not like just how intense it is, with all the running and all the sacrifices and everything. This is definitely a masculine movie, in my opinion. So some people just like, yeah, or may just be turned off by that you have to read it and actually have to sit down and witness it, watch it, rather than just like having everything is flashing at once. So, like I said, this movie's not for everyone, but it is definitely masculine. But then again, almost, again, women can enjoy it too. So say what you will about that. I don't care. Yeah, obviously this was the highlights, of course. Like I said, during the sacrifice, when they're pretty much the whole Mayan city going on. The race of the jungle, 175-foot drop into the waterfall. Those were my particular favorites, and it's like this movie thematically is trying to say like, hey, this is what happens when an empire gets out of control. They start depleting natural resources, political ideology, and stuff like that is like subjugating the people around them, saying, hey, you have to conform to our beliefs, which this still cycles over and over, and it is symbolized by the arrival of the ships from Europe or whatever it was. So that's pretty much thematically what's going on. And of course, there was a lot of research done, trying to make the tattoos look right, the hairstyles, the weapons, and everything else. It really does feel like you're transported back hundreds, if not thousands of years ago. And it just, even, the weapons look the same. It's like, hey, how are we going to construct the sacrificial altar and everything? It's like, even when it had to do with like what was that that eclipse or whatever. It's like the only inconsistency really was they thought that the eclipse was like a sign from God, when there were already Mayans who were very great astrologers. They could read the moon and keep the underclass pretty much subjugated. So that was like really the only thing that I could find that was kind of a misconception. So, say what you will about that. And here's something kind of funny. There was a cow that was trying to go swim upstream at the same time when the jump was being performed, and it got confused with everything that was going on, and that the crew and everyone else thought it was done for. Lo and behold, a local man came, saw that the cow was calm, and returned to eating grass as if nothing happened. That's pretty funny. And because of the nature of the rainforest that was with the area where they were shooting, the uncontrollable weather, they had to get these state-of-the-art cameras, in order to prevent them from overheating, have like external thermometers and store them inside specialty housing and stuff like that. So great care was made to ensure accuracy and just, make everything just operate smoothly. So yeah, Mel Gibson as a director, when he's focused on film, is fantastic, but off the film set, as far as I'm concerned, he's a douchebag. So yeah, a complete friggin' schmuck. So yeah, I do highly recommend that you watch Apocalypto.